Hey guys, Cam here from TodaysiPhone.com, and it's Monday, which means it's time for me to get all cheerful and complain about something. One thing not to complain about is that I'm finally coming to you in stereo thanks to my brand new microphone. You can see it just clipped on here. It's shiny. This week I wanted to turn my attention to the iOS stock apps. Now, when the iPhone first launched back in 2007, third-party apps were not allowed. I mean, this was 7 years ago. Apple thought the best way to make sure that everyone had the best, absolute, amazingest, stunningest, awesomest experience was that they only had their own apps on there. So you had a collection of apps that Apple designed specifically to work on the iPhone. Not this one, obviously. Then in 2008, they opened up the App Store, and then third-party apps could be made by developers who actually had a great eye for design, who could focus purely and simply on one app at a time and make sure it was fantastic. And since then, we've had some incredible apps on there, but Apple still insists on making its own apps for the iPhone, and I don't really mind that as such. I don't mind that they make a load of useful apps like Notes and Reminders and Stock and Weather. What I don't get, however, is why we can't delete them. Now, of course, there are some apps that you can't delete because they're absolutely essential to the phone. So, for instance, I can understand why I can't delete the phone app, or the Messages app, or the Camera app, or the Settings app, or the App Store app. They're fine, I need those. Absolutely cannot use my iPhone without those apps, but what I cannot understand for the life of me is why I can't delete Notes, or why I can't delete Stocks, or why I can't delete Game Center or Newsstand. Why can't I delete Newsstand? I don't use it on my iPhone. Why would I want a magazine on my phone? It's so small. Stock apps. Why do I need to use Stocks? Fair enough. Some people might like to keep in touch with what Wall Street is saying about companies, and that is absolutely fine. Let them have their Stocks app. There's probably better ones on the App Store anyway. And that's my point with a lot of the other apps. Notes. Since iOS 7 was launched last week, Notes is one of the ugliest apps I have ever used in my entire life. It is horrible. There's no lines anywhere breaking anything up. It's all a horrible beigey, horrible texture with yellow font. It's ugly. It's just horrible. I mean, this is Apple we're talking about. The people who made phones that look like they should be made by some sort of magical jewelry wizard. And they make a horrible Notes app that I can't delete from my phone. And what about the Compass app? That amazing app that first made its appearance, I can't even remember when. That's how much of a non-event it was. It's black, and it does its job, and it's got a spirit level in, but as many articles and probably many user experiences have proven, it is absolutely useless because it's not accurate. It's always a couple of degrees out. Whenever I'm using the maps and I set it to point north, it normally points northwest. Apple's argument is always something to the effect of, "Oh no, it's all about the user experience." And to be frank, the user experience often sucks. For almost all of the apps that Apple designs, I can list 2 or 3 alternatives made by other developers that actually do a much better job and deserve space on my iPhone's precious memory. For instance, for Notes, instead of using that, I would rather use something like IA Writer, or Simple Notes, or Evernote. All of them are more elegant and intuitive solutions. All of them look nicer, they work better, they sync with multiple platforms. I can use them with anything. With Notes, I'm forced to look at a beige wallpaper. There are some apps on there that I can see, obviously there are loads of uses for. You've got Mail, which many people use for managing their email, but I prefer to use something else, so let me delete Mail. Safari, there are alternatives to that now as well. You can have Chrome, or you can have Opera's browser, or you can have all sorts of other ones, and you can, I mean, for everything there is an alternative, and the fact that Apple thinks I should have those apps installed on my phone constantly, all the time, is a little bit frustrating. So what is the answer? I guess what I'm saying is I would like the option to delete the non-essential apps that have third-party alternatives. If I've got something installed that I prefer to what Apple has, or if I just don't use some of the ones that Apple has designed, I would like the option to just get rid of them. How do you feel about these apps you can't delete? And if you could delete any of them, which ones would you get rid of first? And what are your alternatives? Please let me know. Use the comment section below to answer those questions, or just get me on Twitter. I'm at TIP_cam. I will see you again soon.